Ether channel. Now in this section we'll talk about Ether channel, how it's going to help us in optimizing the network performance. Now if you just get back to the basic spanning tree features, what we have learned in case of spanning tree, whenever you add multiple links between the switches, like take an example in this scenario, I got some two links, and if I'm going to connect two links, by default automatically any one of the link will goes into blocking state. So let's take an example. I got a switch here, and then I am connecting 4 different links between the 2 different switches. Automatically it makes the remaining 3 links goes into blocking, and it is going to forward the traffic only on that one particular link. So let's assume that each link is 100 Mbps links, and any of these 3 ports will be in the blocking state, and only one link will be forwarding the traffic as per the default spanning tree rules. Now my requirement here is I want to use all the 4 links for forwarding the traffic. Now if you want to use all the 4 links in general, we are not going to disable any spanning tree here, but what we can do is we can combine these multiple links into one single logical link. We can represent to spanning tree that these are not 4 links, they are actually one logical link at a speed of 400 Mbps. So there are 4 links, and the combination of these 4 links and all the 4 links will be forwarding the traffic without any blocking ports at a speed of 400 Mbps. At the same time, it will not create any loops. Now this method we call it as Ether channel, or we can also call it as link aggregation. We can also call it as, or it is also called as port channel interfaces, all or same. Now it is a method where we are aggregating the bandwidth between the layer 2 and layer 3 interfaces. Now once we create this logical link, now we can use this link as a normal layer 2 interface for forwarding the normal switching traffic, and also we can use it as a normal layer 3 interface where we can assign the IP addresses, and we can use as a layer 3 port as well. Now at the same time, it is going to increase the bandwidth utilization, which means not exactly bandwidth utilization, it's going to increase the efficiency of the link by forwarding the traffic from all the 4 links, and also at the same time it is going to help us in providing the redundancy in case if any one of the link fails. Still it's going to forward out of the remaining 3 links, which means still your 300 Mbps traffic will be forwarded. Now Ether channel allows you to configure between any 2 same platforms. Like if you're using Cisco switch, we can do that Ether channel, and it can also be implemented between a Cisco and a non-Cisco switch as well. So let us see some of the basic points. Like if you want to configure Ether channel is going to load balance the traffic over all the links in the bundle. So we'll see the load balancing options, what are the actual load balancing options we have, and we can aggregate up to 8 links to combine into one logical link, and it can be like, you know, any port speed. Like we can either use 100 Mbps ports or we can use 1 gig ports, but we need to ensure that all the 4 links or 8 links must be on the same speed and the same settings, that is duplex settings, and physically they're not compulsory that they should be side by side. These are some of the guidelines or the rules for Ether channel, but they must have the same speed and duplex settings, and they should be on the same VLAN, and they should have some common configurations. So that is something, the major condition you need to know before you configure the Ether channels. Now we can use this Ether channel either as a layer 2 interface or a layer 3 interface. Okay, so port channel in general, we call this as a port channel, is the logical interface which is created after combining multiple physical interfaces. Now to configure Ether channel, there are multiple ways to do that. Like there are 3 different options we can use, two major options we can say. One is a manual Ether channel. In case of manual Ether channel, manually we are configuring the Ether channel by giving some options on both the sides. So whenever I'm using on option, it means we are using a manual Ether channel on both the sides. Now apart from that manual Ether channel, we can also negotiate the Ether channel parameters by using some dynamic method. And there are 2 different protocols which can be used. There is something called PAGP and LACP protocols. PAGP stands for Port Aggregation Protocol, Link Aggregation Control Protocol. Now what these 2 protocols will do is, these 2 protocols will negotiate the ether channel parameters to automatically form ether channel, or to automatically combine the multiple links based on some parameters. Now let me just differentiate what is the difference between LSCP and PHGP. PHGP is a Cisco proprietary way of enabling the ether channel. Now, which means if you want to run PHGP, you must be running a Cisco on both the sides. So if I'm running a Cisco device, I can go with a PHGP. Even if it is a Cisco, non-Cisco also we can run. It's a Cisco proprietary. It runs only on Cisco devices. If you're running any non-Cisco environment devices, you cannot run PHGP. Whereas LSCP is a standard way of implementing ether channel, where you can run on Cisco devices as well as non-Cisco devices. So maybe I'm running any non-Cisco device on the other side, or maybe a Cisco device, I can still run LSCP. So this is one of the major difference between these two. PHGP is a Cisco proprietary way of implementation of the ether channel, whereas LSCP is it's a standard way of implementing the ether channel. Now, apart from that one difference, there are some different modes which we use for the ether channel. Like there are some different modes. If you are using PHGP, there are two different modes which we use with PHGP: auto and desirable. And the active and passive are the modes which we use for LSCP protocol. Now this is for LSCP, and these two options are for PHGP. Now let's try to understand the basic difference between this desirable and auto modes. Now this desirable and auto modes are more similar to the DTP modes in the trunking protocol. Like when I say desirable mode, desirable will actively send or initiate the DTP messages. That's what we can say. It is going to initiate the messages, and also it will reply if anyone initiates on the opposite side. So whereas auto will not initiate, it is going to only reply to the DTP messages, and it will not initiate the messages. So let's take an example. I'm going to configure some ether channel. If I want to use PHGP on this particular links, and I want these 4 links to form a logical one link using PHGP protocol, then probably I should use either desirable on both the sides. If I use desirable will initiate the message, and the desirable also will reply, and they will auto negotiate, and they automatically form ether channel. So that is one successful combination we can say. And apart from that, I can also use desirable on one side, and I can also use auto on the other side. If I say desirable will initiate the messages, auto will not initiate, auto will only reply to the messages, and they automatically negotiate, and the negotiation will be successful, and they automatically form ether channel. But if you use auto on both the sides, that is not going to work, because auto will not initiate the messages, and the auto will not initiate the messages on either sides, which means the initiation will not happen, and they will not form the ether channel. So if you want to use PHGP, it is mandatory that either you have to use desirable on both the sides, or you must use desirable and auto on the other side. But if you are using auto on both the sides, it is not going to work. And even you cannot use desirable on one side, on the other side. On means it's a manual, it doesn't work with dynamic. Now if you compare the same thing with LSCP, in LSCP the equivalent of desirable is active. So which means just if you say active means it will initiate as well as it will reply. The equivalent of auto in LSCP mode, we call it as passive, and the behavior is exactly the same what we discussed. This active means it will initiate as well as it will reply. So which means either you can use active on both the sides, or we can use active passive on both the sides, on one of the side, but you cannot use passive. So if you use passive, it is not going to work. Now there are different options we can use. Like there are some successful combinations we can which is going to work if you want the ether channel to work. Either you must use on both the sides. If I use on both the sides, we use as a manual ether channel, and the command is very simple. We just need to go to the interface range, and then we need to give channel and the group number. This number is actually the logical port channel interface number, So it is going to create one logical interface 12, which is a combination of these four ports into one logical port. And then if I say mode and question mark, it is going to provide me the 5 different modes. So either I can use on, or I can use desirable on both the sides, or I can use desirable and auto on the other side. This is successful combination. If I use auto, it's not going to work. Auto will not work. And the similar way, if you want to use, this is using PHEP protocol, and if I want to use LSCP, in that case either I should use active on both the sides, or I should use active passive, but you should not use passive on both the sides. If you are using this mode, in that case the switch will automatically understand that you want to use LSCP. So let's get into the command line and verify the configuration of this particular ether channel. So let's go with ether channel here. So I got a diagram here. I got a switch 1 and switch 2, which is pre-configured. In fact, there is no configuration on this particular switch, and I got the command line on the switch 1 here. And if you verify show CDP neighbors, I got a switch 1 and switch 2. They are connected on port number 21, 22, 23, 24, exactly the same way. And apart from the connectivity changing the host names, there is nothing configured on this particular switches. So it's just like a blank configurations. And what I want to do is I want to configure ether channel. So let's go with different options here to configure the ether channel. The first option, I'll use PHEP. So let's go with PHEP protocol, and using PHEP I'm going to run desirable mode on one side of the switch, and I'll be using auto mode on the other side of the switch. Now if you want to use LSCP, we should use active or active passive modes. So any one, for testing purpose you can try with any one of this one. So we need to go to interface range, port number 21 to 24. So you can see there are 4 links. So I want to apply on all the 4 links. We can use channel. There are 2 commands, channel group. We can directly use group, and then we need to define the logical port number which it is going to create. So let's say I'm using 1, 2, and then mode. And once I give mode question mark, you'll find some 5 different options. Now out of this, I want to use desirable on one side, and then exit, just one command. If you do show history, I just added only one command on this particular port. And let's go to the switch 2 command line. On the switch 2 also I'm going to do the same thing. Interface range F0 by 21 to 24, channel group, and then logical group number. The port number, it is locally significant, nothing to do with the opposite side. So you just say mode, and the mode is auto. Now we can also use desirable, that still works. Now for verifying, we can use show ether channel summary. Now when I say show ether channel summary, I will see the port channel 12 is created. S stands for, it's a layer 2 interface, and it is in use. And the protocol for negotiation is used by PHEP, and these are the 4 ports which are present in this. Now if you want to verify, there's one more command. We can use show IP interface brief. I can see there's a logical interface which is created on the switch 1 and switch 2. Now similar way, you can also try with some other options, like if you want, we can either remove this, and you can either use active on the one side of this, and we can use passive, or we can use active on both the sides. That's going to work. Even you can try some on options as well, the same thing what I have in the workbook. So I'm not getting into these options here anyway. So this is something very simple. You can just go and verify on those things. Now the verification wise, we have verified that if I give show IP interface brief, I can see my ether channel interface which is already created, and then whatever the changes you do on that particular port channel, let's say we can go to that port channel interface 1, 2, and I can say switch port trunk encapsulation.1q, and then switch port mode trunk, and I can copy paste the same commands on the switch 2 as well. Let's go to switch 2. the same port channel number I'm using. Now if I use show interface trunk, you can see port channel 12 interface is created as a manual trunking with the 802.1 QA encapsulation. And if I use show running config here, now you can see even though whatever the commands we configured on the particular port channel interface, it will automatically apply on the physical interface. Now there is one thing we need to remember here is whatever you apply on the port channel interface, automatically those things will apply on the physical interface. But whatever you apply on the physical interface, that's not going to impact on the port channel interface. So that's one thing we need to remember. So once you make a port channel interface as a trunk port, automatically it is going to make all the remaining ports as a trunk ports. And if you go show interface trunk, and even if you verify show spanning tree, you can see now spanning tree will see this particular port as one logical port instead of seeing them as 4 different ports. So and it puts all the ports in the forwarding state.